I'm changing my major back to meteorology. To help you understand why I switched out of that major in the first place, here is a brief recap of my freshman year. I started college in August of 2020. The pandemic was in its peak. After not doing school for 7 months, I was thrown into a hybrid engineering math class and fully online chemistry class.
A definite is true. A C is true.
In spring, more chemistry and math. The same math because IQ dropped it the first time. I was in no meteorology classes, so I couldn't see the payoff or applications of all of my hard work. The weather center was closed, my meteorology orgs weren't active, and I had no friends in the major. Add to that the fact that my friend group was actively disintegrating, I was reaping the consequences of undiagnosed ADHD, and my mental health was in the trenches. I had to get out. So I changed my major to journalism with a minor in meteorology. Got diagnosed and treated for ADHD. Got super involved with extracurriculars and didn't take another meteorology class until this semester, fall of 2022. This is when things started to change, and a series of events eventually culminated in me changing my major. And sitting here right now, making this video for what unexpectedly became the final journalism class I'll take at A&M. The story of this semester is best told in a series of 3 phases, so we'll just start right now with phase 1. My very first Atmo class of the semester was taught by the same professor who taught my very first class of college altogether. He's also one of my favorite professors at this school. I followed along in class well and truly enjoyed all of the material I was learning. I went to the Weather Center open house, saw lots of people I hadn't seen in 2 years, and was surprised that some of them remembered my name. I continued to go to the Weather Center every now and then, mainly just for Monday afternoon map discussions. I also went to the first TAMSCAMS meeting. TAMSCAMS is the lengthy acronym for the Texas A&M student chapter of the American Meteorological Society. My boss sent me an article about how journalism can help support meteorology, and I immediately forwarded the article to my aforementioned Atmo professor and sparked a conversation about science communication, a concept that quickly became a highly considered field to pursue in grad school. Meteorology has been an unmatched passion of mine since I was 7 years old, and there was really never a world in which it wouldn't be integrated into my future career in some way. The transition between phases 1 and 2 is very clearly demarcated in my brain. A friend of mine who got his meteorology degree here and is now doing grad school came and visited, and he met some of my friends who were taking on the grueling process of applying to grad school themselves, and I listened in to their conversation. All I knew at this point was that I wanted to go to grad school. This is when I began to consider what I actually wanted to study. So thus began the wild process of researching grad schools and research fields. Another email was sent to my professor about science communication, social science, and what opportunities existed in that field. He has an open door policy line in the syllabus that I'm sure he's considered removing after I've come into his office every single day of this semester to ask him questions. I started spending more time in the Weather Center and formed new friendships. The extra effort that I was putting in to all my classes was really reflecting in my work. I was doing well, and so were my grades. This is not by any means an easy major, but I have enjoyed getting to create, color, and draw a series of different weather maps. I just finished up my rendition of a skew T. It was such an even combination of the Atmo class that I'm currently taking and getting more involved with the meteorology organizations on campus that really relit the fire for weather and made me realize that I should have never left in the first place. So now we move into phase 3, which is a rapid series of events that began on October 24th and is still going on right now. I launched a weather balloon. I wrote an impromptu story for the battalion about it. Every single free moment of my time at this point is being spent in the Weather Center. I am making so many new friends, so many new connections, I have so many new ideas for what I want to do. And then we reach the fateful day of November 4th. The morning began with me launching my second weather balloon ever, and then running up to the observatory to watch the data come in as it was transmitted in real time. After that, I pulled up to the O&M and got my car fitted with a ham radio to prepare for a storm chase with Task, which is Texas Aggie Storm Chasers. Being able to drive on this chase was so fun. This was the day that several tornadoes wreaked havoc across Arkansas, Oklahoma, and northeastern Texas, but we just stayed west of College Station and chased a few cells as they popped up. When we finally made it back in the O&M, we camped out in the observatory, awaiting the arrival of the squall line and subsequent cold front as it reached College Station. While we were up there, I had great conversations with my peers reflecting on the day and what I thought was in store for my future. I started to feel very melancholy at this point. This was one of the best days that I'd had in a long time, but my reflection of it was really bittersweet. This is what I love. This is what I want to do. This is my passion and my favorite thing. There's no other prospective career field that I love as much as this one, where it's just as much a hobby as it is a job. The past 14 hours, my entire day had been nothing but weather, and I was still beaming with excitement about it, waiting for more. This is literally the best field of study. But it's not my field of study. I had the best day ever, and I went home and I cried. I cried because I enjoyed the events of the day so much, but I knew that that's not what I had set up for my future. So I went home and I began to seriously consider changing my major. This wasn't the first time that I had that thought. It popped in my head a few times.
This photo was literally taken a week after I changed my major from meteorology to journalism.
I had created several reasons why I couldn't, even though I very much can. I think that I did that mainly to justify changing my major in the first place, and I really do like journalism and the community that I found here and the work that I've done, but again, my passion for weather is just so unmatched. Nothing fulfills me as much as that. So the day of the chase and sitting in the observatory watching the squall line come in, this was Friday, November 4th. On Saturday, I just kind of let myself ruminate on that thought of maybe changing my major, maybe exploring the possibility of it. I didn't want to make a rash decision. I've already done it once, and I know people change their major multiple times, but I don't know how often it is they change it back to their first one. And then on Sunday, I woke up and the thought would not leave my head. I had pretty much decided already without knowing it that this was something that I was going to do. So I sat down for almost 2 hours and made a plethora of spreadsheets, trying to figure out how I could schedule my classes to make this work. Funnily enough, the Be Real came out while I was doing that, so I captioned my post, "What if I change my major back to meteorology?" And it was a resounding yes from the comments, which nicely transitions me into saying that I've told a lot of people that I'm changing my major, and not a single one of them has asked me why. This development in my life is simply realigning my path toward the direction that I always planned to go anyways. I have never felt as confident and right about a decision as I do this one. So, as cheesy as it may sound, I will conclude by saying, listen to your heart, follow your passions, and don't ignore the voice in your head telling you to leap, even if it's scary.